It's Coach Herm Edwards with Armen Levack. Thanks to McLean Food Service on 104.5 The Team every Monday at 5:15. And we play the best of Coach Edwards at 6:30. Coach, I know you're about to catch a plane. Appreciate your time with us today. Michael Vick yesterday and the victory with the New York Jets. What has his success shown you? Do the Jets, are they starting to think about, if you're the Jets, you start thinking about maybe this guy should be extended into next year? What have we learned about Michael Vick in these last couple of games?
Well, that he's still a talented player, and he did some things in that game that obviously displayed that again. Along his arm, he's always had great arm strength, but as well as his legs. Jets played very well yesterday at home against a team that a lot of people felt would just go in there and steamroll them, but it tells you a lot about the coaching staff getting these guys prepared to play. And the takeaways really undid the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially on the road. Ben has had a lot of success in the prior weeks, but it's been at home. So this was another example of going on the road and turning the ball over. Generally, you come out of those situations losing games.
Coach, Calvin Pryor missed a bunch of meetings, and now Jaquan Jarrett gets a chance to play. He looks great. Do you just play Jarrett now, or do you go back to your first-round draft pick?
If you get in games and you're productive, the coaches are going to find a way to play it. And obviously he needs to be on the field. He had a marvelous day yesterday, really made big plays in the big moments, and that was a lot of reasons for their victory because of how he played on defense.
Coach, it's funny because the guy's played for more than half a decade. Jaquan Jarrett that we're talking about, Coach Herm Edwards with Armen Levack on 104.5 The Team. Jarrett has this career game yesterday. As a coach, have you ever put somebody in maybe because of injuries, other guys were disciplined, and then they just have a game and you go, man, maybe I should have been playing this guy all along?
There's some history to all players now. I mean, it's and some guys at times have a good game, but it's a consistency. It's going to continue to do that. But he showed up yesterday big for the Jets, made big plays in big moments, and you don't lose sight of that. Now, Pryor is the guy that you drafted, and, you got to get him back in the lineup eventually because he was a high-round pick, and obviously setting him down always sends a message. So hopefully he'll learn from that and can improve his play on the field.
Coach, on the other side of the field, Mike Mitchell diving over the victory formation. The Jets' offensive line was very upset. What do you take from a play like that? Is that it's a one-score game, keep going, or was it a dirty play?
It's just something that obviously that he was trying to make a play. We've seen Palomalo do that at times, jump over the center, trying to get the ball back, and the Jets were prepared because when he jumped, they hit him, and generally when they hit you in the air like that, you're going to have a hard fall.
Armen Levack with Coach Herm Edwards on 104.5 The Team. Thanks to McLean Food Service. And, Coach, the Jets are now 2-8. What are they playing for? If you're Rex Ryan, what do you tell these guys as far as playing for, with a 2-8 record, your mentality the rest of the year?
The mentality they had last week is trying to win a game. Rex has said that for the last 7 weeks. These guys want to win a game, and it goes to show you that the league's about that. You see it every week that there's teams that go in certain venues and feel like, you know what, all we got to do is play because we're the better team, and you play with no emotion. That happened to Cincinnati at home on Thursday night versus Cleveland, and Cleveland came out on the better end of it. And I just think it's a tribute to the coaching staff and to the players to continue to play hard. And this week they got another opportunity. Now they felt the winning taste in their mouth, and hopefully they can go win another one, win 2 in a row.
Coach, what did you take away from in the Giants game, the matchup of Odell Beckham Jr. versus Richard Sherman?
Oh, he's going to be a very good player. He's got great intangibles, quickness at the line, nice body control. He's a competitor. And it's amazing because this is a guy that missed a lot of time early in the season due to injuries. And it says a lot about who he is as a player to be able to perform like he's performing right now. And most rookies aren't able to do that when they miss that much time, but he's done an outstanding job of that.
Armen Levack with Coach Herm Edwards. Thanks to McLean Food Service on 104.5 The Team. And, Coach, the Giants were 2 different teams from the first half to the second half. What was the biggest factor in that difference between the G-men in first and second?
The run wore them down in the read option. It seemed at times they misplayed it numerous times, and it became big plays for Seattle. And Seattle's very tough at home. It was a very competitive game. Giants did a great job. But in the second half, Marshawn Lynch and the legs of Russell Wilson really kind of determined how the game was going to turn out.
Coach, the Giants go into that game as they're one of the teams that give up the most 20-plus yard plays downfield. Is that like a lack of discipline issue? What happens that a defense breaks down like that on big plays?
That's a lack of healthy bodies, lack of new guys in the secondary. It seems like every other series or two. We saw this happen last night with the Chicago Bears. You get so many different players playing in the secondary, and the communication is bad at times, and you allow big plays. And that's what happened to the Giants. I mean, these guys have been decimated by injuries. That's not an excuse. But when you play in the secondary, you have to be well connected. You have to make sure you're on the same page with guys. And if one guy thinks he's supposed to be deep, and the other guy thinks he's supposed to be in the flat, and then all of a sudden two guys are in the flat, you got a big play. And it happens a lot in our league.
Coach, we always hear that. It's like next man up, injuries aren't excuses. But in this situation, you got to be like, come on, this is a lot.
Well, we all been through it if you've been long enough. I went through it. I dressed 80 guys in one season. So it's not a lot of fun, but you prepare guys for that week. You got to go complete, and no one's going to feel sorry for you. I mean, your opponent's not going to say, oh, by the way, we'll play all our backup guys. I mean, you're trying to win a game, and you go out there with those backup guys, and it's kind of interesting because generally those guys can play pretty good for a series of plays or two, or maybe a quarter or two, but eventually there's a reason they're backup players. It comes out. They don't have the fortitude, or they don't have the awareness or the focus to play a whole game, and they get exposed. And all it takes is 3 or 4 guys that haven't played a lot to have to play a whole series of games. They're going to make errors.
Coach Herm Edwards with Armen Levack. Thanks to McLean Food Service. And, Coach, after watching Marshawn Lynch run the way he did last night in a Seattle Seahawks uniform, amid the rumors and the reports that this could be his last season in Seattle, it's hard to think of that guy not being a Seahawk next year, isn't it?
Yeah, we say that. They traded Willie Mays. I don't know if you know that. So when you trade Willie Mays, anything can happen, right?
Yes, sir.
That doesn't surprise. This is the world we live in. You see great players play for other teams, and it kind of sets you back a little bit. But it's very difficult for a guy to stay on a team for the rest of his career. It's just hard, and money plays a factor in that. Age plays a factor in that. All these things seem to pop up in the world we're in. But, yeah, you wish you could stay a Seattle Seahawk, and I know they'll do everything to try to keep him, but I think eventually money and business will determine probably not that.
Coach, the Bills dropped a tough one, but Marone's team is still in a position to succeed this year. When did you know that Doug Marrone was going to be an effective head coach in this league?
Well, you give him an opportunity, and then you got to give him some time. And obviously, they hit a home run by bringing Orton in there. That kind of saved this whole team because this team was floundering at the quarterback position with E.J. Manning due to his inexperience and probably wasn't ready to play. And Orton's come in there and really stabilized the offense. They do a fantastic job of playing defense. What got him yesterday is, and Doug, going forward, they're going to have to play better in the red zone. I mean, that's what really got him. When you look at situations in the red zone, turn the ball over, not scoring, obviously, a costly fumble there on the punt. But they're a very competitive team. They're going to be in it. They've got a big game again this week now with Miami.
Coach Herm, everybody talks about how this is a passing league and it's the future of the NFL, but we saw the Giants without Rashad Jennings and how much that's affected him. The Jets, with their record, have one of the worst rushing games in the league, and then with Fred Jackson limited yesterday for the Bills, the Bills had trouble being effective as well. Do we not give the rushing game enough credit in 2014?
Well, I think the pundits sometimes don't, but I think if you're a coach, you're a player, you realize running the football is the main ingredient of your offense, and you have to have it if you're going to make a playoff run because the weather changes. You saw the weather yesterday in Seattle, how bad it was out there. It's very difficult to throw the football. You got to run. I mean, you got to run to win games. You always throw the ball to score. That's always been how it's written in the National Football League. We say it's a passing league because you have these dynamic quarterbacks throwing for a bunch of yards, a bunch of touchdowns. Obviously, yesterday, Aaron Rodgers in the first half threw 6 touchdown passes. Last time we saw that, Daryl LaMonica actually did it with the Oakland Raiders. So you still got to run the football. You look at the last couple teams that win the Super Bowls, they were run-orientated offenses. You talk about Baltimore and Seattle.
Coach, you bring up Aaron Rodgers' performance against the Bears last night. What is this just a situation where the Pack owns the Bears, or is there something really, really wrong with that Chicago team? Well,
obviously, you look at that football team, and they've got some talent, especially on the offensive side of it. Defensively, we knew they were going to struggle this season. And the back end of their secondary has been decimated also with injuries. You saw a bunch of blown. You saw at least 3 coverages that gave up touchdowns yesterday, which is blown coverage, essentially blown. And, you do that against Green Bay in Green Bay, it generally costs you. And it did last night. It's a shame because this team started out pretty good, especially with that offense they have. They can be very dynamic, but they right now are struggling. They're struggling with an identity. They're struggling, obviously, with confidence, and there's a little bit of a lack of leadership there as well.
Coach Herm Edwards, thanks to McLean Food Service with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. And Coach, the Cardinals have lost Carson Palmer with a torn ACL. Moving forward, how does this affect this team with the best record in the NFL?
Going forward, I think, they're a team that obviously is very difficult to beat at home. And Stratton has done a good job, and he came in against the Giants and had to play. And I think the thing that Arizona has going for them is that in the fourth quarter, they're probably the best team in the National Football League, along with Kansas City, of really putting people away. And if you look at their numbers in the fourth quarter, it's not even close. Their ability to score points or take the ball away in the fourth quarter in the big moments. And so I think they continue to play that way.
All right, Coach, Monday Night Football tonight. Mark Sanchez makes his debut as the Eagles starter. What do you expect from him this evening?
Well, Mark Sanchez has been a starter. It's not like he's never started in that football league. He has a lot of experience. So he's had some ups, he's had some downs in his career, and I think now he's at a place where he's trying to redefine himself, and he's on a good football team. He realizes that he doesn't have to do it by himself. He's got tremendous talent around him. Starts in the running position with McCoy and Sproles, the wide receiver position, Macklin, and all those guys they have over there. Matthews, the new receiver, Ernst, tight end. Offensive line's getting healthy, so all he has to do is orchestrate the offense like he did last week, and if he can do that, they'll have a chance to be successful.
Coach Herm Edwards with Armen and Levack, thanks to McLean Food Service, and Coach Adrian Peterson could be back. We're waiting to see what's going to happen there. If he comes back and plays for the Vikings anytime soon, we've heard the reports that the locker room is somewhat split on their feelings of what he did and how it went down and everything else. As a coach, do you monitor the locker room? How do you introduce him back into the locker room, or do you have any fears about that whatsoever with him coming back?
Well, I think obviously when he was dismissed and he had to spend time away from the team, you address it at that point and let the locker room know that hopefully he's going to come back once he goes through, the discipline that has been warranted out to him. When it comes due and it's done, then obviously he's back on our football team, no different than any other player. And you can have different opinions about how you feel about him, but I think he served the purpose. Now, some people will say he shouldn't come back this year. That's fine. Everyone has their opinion. But I think if you're a coach, you understand he's missed 8 weeks. He's done something that has brought attention to child abuse, if we want to call it that. He believed he disciplined his child. Other people believe he punished his child. I'm one of those that believes he's punished his child, and you can't have that. Back 30 years ago, that might have been okay. It's not okay anymore. And I think hopefully he's learned a lesson. Hopefully he'll step forward and be an avid speaker about that and tell his story, which I think can help a lot of people, a lot of parents. So going forward, you want to try to spin it to positive if you can.
That's Herm Edwards. Thanks to McLean Food Service with Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team, live at 5:15, replayed at 6:30 every single Monday. And Levack, we love McLean Food Service. They are your home for Class A delivery drivers, but even more so, they continue to get recognized as one of the best places to work in the Capital Region. And overall, if you're looking for a gig and you have experience driving a big rig, this is the place for you, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in a day and age where it's increasingly difficult to get an honest day's pay for an honest day's work, it's nice to know companies like McLean are out there. Every one of the employees, from the office down to whoever, the guy pushing a broom, they're like, hey, man, I work hard, but I get paid well for it.
Yeah, average first-year pay, $60K. It's crazy, man. New trailers as well. Healthcare benefits, McLeanco.com. Coach Edwards, thanks for your time today. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Safe travels.
Thank you now.